Hey guys, Avi here.
Howdy, what's up? Leki here.
You know what episode we're up to?
This is episode 9.
Episode 9. Leki keeps count. Season 1, episode 9. So this is a bit different. We're going to be doing the 5 W's. So where, who, what, when, and why. So pretty much today's going to be about Leki. So we're going to go back in time, take the time machine back all the way back to when Leki was in high school. Because a lot of people are finishing high school now and they're towards the end and looking for jobs. So why not? Why don't we take Leki back all the way and you can join us on the journey. So,
Absolutely.
First one, I'm just going to go with the where. So where did you go to high school?
Yep, so I was my final year of high school was 2002. And my VCE years, 2001, 2002, was at Melbourne High School. It's kind of like that old building you can see out of South Yarra train station. And yeah, I had a pretty good time. It's an all-boys school too, so it has its pros and cons.
All right. And where was it based again?
South Yarra?
South Yarra,
Yeah, you can see it right off the train station.
Oh, nice. All right. Next one. It's going to be who. So who were you following at the time? I don't know, currently we've got like Instagram and stuff. I don't know what you had back in the day, MySpace, MSN, I don't know. So who were you following? Yeah.
So at the time, let me just frame up the timeline. So ICQ was pretty popular. I was training ICQ. MSN chat was pretty popular. This was before Facebook. This was, I think, before MySpace. So maybe we were using something called Bebo and Friendster. So that's kind of the world we're in. Instant messaging wasn't that apparent. And I had the little grey flippy phone Motorola, the James Bond phone. So the Nokia, I can't remember the model, but the little Nokias with the snake game, that was really popular when I was finishing up VCE. So a lot's progressed in the last 17 years or so. But when I was in this time, I already mentioned in a previous vlog that I'm a big fan and follower of 50 Cent. So he dropped his album at this time. So In the Club was a big popular music. His whole album was pretty massive. And Nelly was another artist that was pretty big, Country Grammar. So I grew up with all those sort of songs. So I guess I was following those I was a hip hop guy, so I was dancing as well. I was a try-hard sort of break dancer. So I can still pull out some moves, but I was into the culture. I danced. My brother was into making beats and things, so he's involved in the Aussie hip hop scene. And apart from that, I was a big follower of my parents. So my dad, being a migrant story, he came out and worked really hard. He actually got his degree in Fiji. Wasn't recognised in Australia, so he had to go again. So you can imagine being a father of 4 kids, starting out again, and it was tough going. So apart from keeping an eye on celebrities you see on the telly, obviously whoever's around you at home is going to be who you follow. So my parents were big influences.
Was there anyone you're following in more the health field at that time, or?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Probably not any particular names. I wasn't a big gym guy. I wasn't lifting in the gym. Big rugby fan, so I followed rugby players at the time. My favourite player of all time is George Smith. Young half Tongan guy with big long dreadlocks, and just changed the way number 7s would play the game. He was a big pilferer. So, but yeah, athletes. I was a big rugby fan.
Just rugby or other sports as well?
Yeah, I did play soccer for a little while, but I think as soon as we moved to Melbourne, all the family, friends, guys at church, they all played rugby, so didn't have a choice.
All right, pretty insightful there. So the next one is the what. What were you inspiring to be at the time? Especially around the year 12 there at the time, especially when you're going to finish uni and you want to go out into the big world, as they say.
Yeah, so the purpose of this vlog was just to take us back to our times in year 12. And so when I was finishing up in year 12, I was really gunning hard to try and get into medicine. So I was trying really hard, did extra tutoring lessons. There was this Vietnamese guy that did extra tutoring in his garage in Springvale. So all these Melbourne High guys would jump on the train on Friday Arvo, head down to Jack's tutoring. So shout out to Jack, if you're still doing. So it was funny. We'd sit there.
Is that Jack or no? It's different.
I can't remember his last name, but he's a Vietnamese Jack guy.
Because there's a big one called Juku Jack. I don't know. he's made it into a big franchise, or it could be something.
Nah, I'm pretty sure Jack's still in the garage.
No.
But Jack killed it. He was a really nice guy. I think he had an engineering background. I went and plugged in for his. So this might be important. So I did 2 maths, 2 science, history, revolutions, English, and something else I can't quite remember. And my enter score was 97.4. I think it's ATAR now. So I tried really hard, but didn't quite do well enough to get into med. So, for med at my time, I think you needed 99.5. You still need that. So, and my father being a doctor, it's one of those things. So you just want to try and, shape up to the big man. FYI though, my youngest brother got into medicine. And so you'd probably know who the favourite son in our family would be. No, I'm just kidding. But so we're very health-orientated family because obviously my old man's in the field. My older sister worked in Medicare for 15 years. I'm a physio. Younger brother is an accountant, and the youngest one is at Alfredo Hospital, one of the doctors there. So, I guess that answers that.
So that blends in well to the next one. So pretty much, when did you decide you wanted to aspire to be like a physiotherapist?
I think it's interesting because the way that it was set up at my time, year 12, so remember I finished up in 2002, so I put down my list of priorities, and I think you put physio as number 3, so I had med number 1, dent number 2, physio number 3. And the story is I was playing some pretty good level rugby. I was like a state level player at Nationals, got a bad injury. Actually, Drew Mitchell was the guy that injured me. He sent me to the hospital. Bad injury, and I had to get rehabilitation. And the physio at the time was really inspiring. So I had the goal of going to uni and then trying to do well and then transfer into med. But I saw physio out, and so I guess that was I'm jumping the gun here into uni, but VCE wise, my year 12 brain was trying to go gung-ho for medicine. So as it's eventuated, things have gone really well, but not all things pan out the way that you think it would go, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, which is why we're shooting this, because how I finished year 12 in 2002, it's now 2019, so 17 years ago. It's a long time, and things change in 3 months, so 17 years is a big amount of time.
Interesting. It's good to know. So we're up to the last 5th W, the why. So why did you choose Melbourne High? Like, what was the main reason behind it?
Yeah, so Melbourne High is it's a selective school, so you've got to take a test to get in there. So obviously, it's a bit of a pat on the back in that sense. But it's also a public school, so there's I think it's $500 for school fees. So it's pretty good in that sense. We also compete in sporting events against all the top tier schools, like the posh schools. Yeah. So my year, I was playing footy against Chris Judd and Luke Ball. So Chris Judd had a full head of hair. He was like real lean and athletic. Just couldn't catch him. He was so slippery. Luke Ball, who was a strong defender for Collingwood for a couple of years, he was just nuggety and enjoyed the contact. And they were the 2 big names. So they went to Xavier and Caulfield Grammar. So Melbourne High just had a lot of opportunities. Where I was beforehand, I was at Westbourne and Grammar and Hoppers Crossing. And, you would, not to pump myself up, I'd say I was in, the top 5% when I was at Westbourne. When I went to Melbourne High, I was in the bottom 5%. So when you feel like a dumbass, you just want to work harder, which is why I went to Jack's and a few other things. So when there's a lot of gun people around you, it pulls you up. So I went there to just broaden my horizons a little bit more, and I also wanted to be in the city. I don't know why, so in year 10, I asked my parents if I could apply. There was an essay plus an interview process, and I got in year 11. So not many people would want to change schools, but for me, I was up for the challenge, more so I can get into the city, to be honest. And it was a blessing in disguise, because when you go back and forth from the suburbs to the city, on the weekends, the last thing you want to do is go to the city and muck around. You just want to stay home. So it was like a blessing and a curse. So that's probably the main reason why.
So that's all the 5 Ws. So hopefully you've got to know a bit about Leki's VC years. So very big on the med scene, and now he's a physio. So I wouldn't say it turned out that bad.
Yeah, that's right. So look, there's it's funny now speaking with Avi and you guys about the journey, because I was so boxed in. I was like, nah, med. That's all that it is. If I'm going to be a complete failure, I'm a loser if I don't get in. And I felt like that for a long time soon after, you know. And so for all you VCE guys out there, guys and girls, just be mindful that there's a long way around. You know, ideally I'd love to get the shortcut, but in trying to find my way, it's just, you know, things have developed, and there's so many opportunities that I never would have appreciated or come across if I didn't keep the open mind. So I guess that's the message today. You know, there's some funny stories in there. It's a long time ago, my Motorola flippy phone and all that sort of thing. And where we may be in the next 12 years or 17 years may be completely different. So you never know. I hope you found a lot of value in my little story, and we'll keep this theme once a month. So next month, Avi's he'll be under the microscope, and I'll ask him about his VC ventures. But yeah, that's us.
Yeah, so in saying that, like, going the long way, I found, I'm going into mine, but I believe you gain a lot more experience as well. So you see all these other things that someone might not see going straight into their thing where they want to be. So don't be worried if you don't get into what you aspire, but you might get in another way, and you'll learn a lot more things, and you'll be a lot more mature and smarter when you get to that stage, I suppose. Yeah.
That's it. Just keep pushing. You know, if it's something you're really interested in, you'll get there.
Yeah. And final thing, my Mo's doing all right, so please donate. So we'll put the link up again. It's for a good cause, for mental health, men's health especially, because there's a lot of suicide and stuff going on, and males don't really like to speak up, so speak up. All right, so grow the Mo, and signing off here.
Awesome. See you guys next week.